types of feedback: formal and informal, direct and indirect. So there are a variety of ways in which feedback may be obtained. Two key areas relating to feedback is whether feedback will be formalized, meaning it will be recorded for future reference, and whether the feedback is being targeted at an individual or group. Below we will distinguish between formal, informal, direct, and indirect feedback. So firstly is formal feedback, when feedback has been recorded in the form of documentation or has been reported to an individual who must act on the report, such as a supervisor or manager. Formal feedback documentation may come in the forms of surveys, interview notes, online forms, emails to key personnel, filling in reports, or recorded in a meeting within the documented minutes of the meeting. Essentially, all these types of feedback that might be given are documented. Even if it's being referred to a manager verbally, that manager then needs to document it using some sort of system that's a part of their workplace. But this is obviously documented and it is formalized because we can refer back to documentation. So if more issues come up later on, or if it's a reoccurring, let's say, complaint about an employee that's been giving us feedback, okay, it's not good if we start seeing a paper trail build up in that aspect. Okay, so it's documented and can be referred back to for future purposes. All right. Now, the other form of feedback at this level is informal feedback. When feedback is given to an individual, though it may not be documented, this may be occurred verbally through comments during conversation. Okay, so it could be just a customer says back to an employee, "You were great help today. Thank you for helping me out with this." Okay, that is feedback. Okay, a simple comment like that, it's informal, but they're telling you your service is good. Okay, it's not documented, unfortunately, but it is a form of feedback there. They might then, the same customer, write a letter to your manager saying how good you are. That is formal. That can be documented. It's written down, okay, and can be put on your record. But essentially, these are usually comments, something that's not recorded. Informal feedback may be obtained face to face, over the phone, in a video conference, or just through general conversation. In any instance where feedback cannot be referred back to, would usually be a classification of informal feedback. But unless the individual is kind of making their own notes, all right, and they might be trying to make up their own portfolio and they are documenting things that customers have been saying and dating it and all of that and making their own notes in that aspect, then we could say it's getting formalized because they're documenting these informal comments. But essentially, most conversations, anything that's not recorded, is classified as informal feedback. Now, the next two go together as well, which is direct and indirect feedback. Direct feedback means we are specifically targeting something with our feedback. So this could be an individual, a product, a business, or a specific brand for the purpose of reflecting on the associated practices for improving the performance, services, or quality based on the feedback related to those elements. So we are actually targeting. So whatever we're putting together, our surveys, our interviews, our online forms, they're specifically asking customers or clients about those specific things. And then when we read the feedback, it is actually telling us how they felt about those specific things. So when I say direct feedback, I might as well be saying specific feedback because we are being specific about an individual product, business, or brand in relation to our feedback. Then this obviously differs with indirect feedback. Okay, it's more general in nature, okay, and could be more of a reflection or be obtained from informal sources or comments. So it could be just once again that same customer saying, "Oh, I had a great experience here today." Okay, that is an indirect feedback. They haven't specifically said what made it a good experience. They haven't said anything about specific employees that made their experience good, but they've said they're feeling positive about their experience in a specific organization. It is not a result of a targeted collection, which was the case with direct feedback, but instead more general information that might have been obtained in relation to an organization through either conversation or a positive letter being written to the organization saying how great their experience was. It could be something that is they've seen statistics related to the industry and they're trying to reflect if that applies to their workplace. Okay, but obviously because it relates to the whole industry, it's not specific to their workplace, making it indirect. So that's indirect feedback. Now, the thing to also take away from these different types of feedback is they can be formal feedback that is direct, okay, or formal feedback that is indirect, or it could be informal feedback that is direct, or informal feedback that is indirect, okay. So they combine with each other on a formalized level and a direct level. Obviously, feedback can't be both formal and informal, okay, unless you are taking it from different sources, but that's using multiple types of feedback. But you're usually either formal or informal, or using direct or indirect, okay, when talking about a specific feedback style there, okay, but they can overlap with their degree of formality and directness in relation to the feedback. So I just wanted to clarify there before I wrap up this video. But essentially, I hope this gives you an understanding of different types of feedback and really how they are differentiated between how formalized the feedback is, and that ultimately relates to, is there a recording or register of the feedback being made which can be referred to for future purposes? If not, it's informal feedback. And then direct and indirect feedback. Is it actually targeted feedback that we're obtaining about a specific individual product, brand, or project? Or is it just general comments being made about the organization, industry, or just someone's experience, okay, in relation to one of those aspects? So I hope this helps clear that up for you and gives you an understanding of the different types of feedbacks we can obtain within our organizations.